And HO Scale is sponsored by Mainline Hobby Supply. So, Pat, if you could run that video.
Mainline Hobby Supply is your one-stop store for model trains in G, O, S, HO, N and Z scales, including locomotives, rolling stock, track, train sets, and more to help build your model railroad. We are the largest model railroad shop in the area, and we carry a wide range of model railroad supplies across scales. Our friendly staff is always available to help with your modeling needs and to special order anything you may require. Mainline Hobby Supply is in southern Pennsylvania, halfway between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. We are only an hour away from Baltimore, and we are easy to get to from the 70, 81, 83, and 270 freeways. Plan to stop by on your next trip through Pennsylvania. Mainline Hobby Supply also has an online store that can cater to your modeling needs wherever you are located. With our large inventory, fixed shipping costs, friendly and knowledgeable service and prompt shipping, consider Mainline Hobby Supply for your next online order. Use the QR code to access our online store.
And I certainly appreciate Mainline Hobby for being a sponsor for HO Scale. Ed O'Rourke is the host for the HO Scale segment. So Ed, I will turn it over to you, sir.
I got into model railroading because my father was one. I don't think he ever passed a hobby shop without going in and without buying something. And since no one else of my 5 siblings took any permanent interest in model railroading, I eventually inherited all his stuff. So these 2 things have been on my shelves for probably 50 years. I haven't figured out what to do with them. But take a look at the price, 69 cents. Those were the good old days that we talk about. And I do enjoy finding a way to use the old buildings that my father built on my own layout. Everything that you're going to see here is on my previous layout. We just moved in May, and I'm building a new layout, but I'm as far as bench work and some track, and that's it right now. Everything else, all this stuff's in boxes. In any case, here are some things, hints about things to think about some of these older buildings, not as they are, but as they can be. The first thing I'm going to talk about is Revell. Revell produced a bunch of very nice building kits in the late 50s and early 60s. They had a level of detail that's good even by today's standards, and were absolutely revolutionary when they came out. The colors were pretty bright, you might even say garish. The molded plastic was shiny as it came from the box, but they were light years ahead of, say, Plasticville USA structures were then available, and much quicker and easier to build than the wood craftsman kits of the day. Most were under about $3, relatively inexpensive even in $1960. And they can still be found at train shows and swap meets all over the place, sometimes in the box, sometimes built up. Best known is probably the engine house. This is a classic 2-stall engine house designed by Al Armitage, and it is based on the scratch-built structure by John Allen that Tom's been building. His, of course, was wood, but it's that a similar outline. I think that's where Armitage got the idea. It's a little short for anything beyond a diesel or maybe a 260, although you can work with it and expand it. I painted it, modified the roof vents, added signage left over from a Walthers kit, and now it serves as an industry, hiding a corner where tracks go through the wall below the buildings, changing levels. The rear of it is a DPM modular wall and a roof from another Revell kit. Sharp-eyed folks may also spot the Revell engine house or the Revell water tower over here. Armitage designed the engine house so that the dies could be modified to produce other structures. One was the Superior Baking Company, which utilizes the sidewalls, replacing the engine doors with more windows. It didn't have the machine shop edition. I've used it as it is with the addition of some paint, dull coat, and weathering, and backing up the windows with clear styrene to preserve the muntins. Because it's already built, I didn't try to repaint it. I wanted to preserve the signage. The signage on it, I think, is some of the best part of it, to tell you the truth. The top picture shows how I used parts of these structures. My friend Jim Height had a whole box full of them, and he needed a background structure here in Norwood on his layout. So this is how I took those different parts of the engine house and the couple of the other kits and built them into a background flat. The third structure in the group was the Weekly Herald building. It had a false front, as you can see in the picture of the kit. Otherwise, it was similar to the other two. And of the three that I inherited, this one was in the worst shape, so I opted to use parts of it. The two long sides here became a flat against the backdrop on the back part of the layout. Another part of it became a body shop, as you can see here. This is the front. The roof is from the kit. The overhead door is a design preservation models thing, and the back is unfinished because it's set against a wall. It's attached to a couple more DPM modular buildings. The machine shop and the front of the kit, I didn't have a use for at that point. I've since found one for the machine shop that we'll talk about another time. Revell also produced a set of 4-yard structures. The elevated crossing shanty is sort of iconic. I think maybe that's the biggest one. There was also a small shed with that one time had 2 guys sitting out playing checkers on the barrel out front. I don't know what happened to them, but there you can see it up here. Again, they were produced originally in a very bright yellow and dark brown. This is what they look like when you repaint them in New Haven railroad structure colors. I'm not sure of the lineage of this building, but those are New Haven structure colors. They were green with brown trim at one time on work structures. This is an Atlas Tower. It was a reasonable stand-in for SS-75 in New Haven Station. I later found some photos of the real tower and scratch built it, and that will appear on my new layout, but this is a pretty decent model. Anyway, you can add an interior into the top and some lighting. It comes out pretty good. The other ones over here are the Plasticville USA Tower. As you can see, it's stock and then with some modifications. Painted and weathered with a new roof. Makes a big difference. For up close, you'd want to replace the stairs here as well, which are pretty basic. Below, this is the west cut of New Haven stations. You can see it there. Also note the section house here. We'll talk about that in a little bit. The New Haven used a lot of old cars as buildings. Some remained on wheels for tax purposes. I'm told that if they were on wheels, they were fully depreciated rolling stock rather than buildings. So they didn't have to pay property taxes on them as you would on a structure. Again, some paint and dull coat to take the shine off them, and weathering make them usable. This one I added a loading dock to. This is the back of it. This one has incredible level of detail. And this was all, just all came in the kit, all these little parts and everything. I had to figure out how to paint them because my father didn't paint them. He just put them together as they came, which is interesting when it's built, not to take some more careful painting. Go on. There we go. motor storage area in New Haven had a couple of these old cars on wheels. There, you can see it there. The picture I've seen of it looked like it was yellow. I'm pretty sure they were. It's a black and white photo, but I'm pretty sure they were originally yellow. This one I think is an AHM old time kit. I added some stairs on this end and did some cleaning up of it and painting it, and that was really all it took. And it's pretty much, if you see the original picture, it's pretty much a dead ringer for what the original building there looked like. This one, I like this kit too. It's a really nice detailed build once again. Trouble is, the New Haven didn't have any offset cupola cabooses, so it wouldn't have existed on the New Haven. So I eventually scratch built something to take its place on the layout. Let's keep going here a little more. This one up here is a Roundhouse Palace car kit. Again, modeling a photo of such a car that I spotted in Cedar Hill Yard in a photo in a book. On the right here, you can kind of see there's two of them grafted together. I saw a picture of one of those too. This is a Roundhouse Pullman Palace car. It was a diner, I think. I bricked up part of it, boarded up part of it and changed some of the windows around, and again put a staircase on the end of it, and it makes a pretty decent building. And it is on trucks, so we're not paying any property tax on it. And this is how those scenes kind of fit into the motor storage area in New Haven. This is my layout is an island, so this is the back wall on the other side of it, as you can see here. Atlas made a lot of structures as well. This trackside shanty, again in bright yellow and brown trim, with different paint and a new roof. It became the Carknockers shed in New Haven Station. I'm not sure who made the section house. I think it's actually True Scale, but it's a pretty nice model with with some cleaning up and detailing and painting. It works quite well as a section house or hand car shed here. I later found a hand car kit and built it, set it out here on the track ready to go. This corner has a track that descends through the wall to reach the lower level here. Aside from the Revell engine house, which we talked about before, which is over here, there are a number of other structures involved here. The track runs behind this retaining wall and underneath the buildings, actually through part of the buildings, but you can't see it, down to a lower level, which is behind the backdrop over here. So let's look at this brick factory first. This is an engine house as well. It was made by Airfix, which is a British company. So it's actually 00 scale, but it works, it's close enough to HO scale that it works for HO. It was actually a single stall structure, but you could combine them together into multiple stalls and lengths. This one is actually 4 kits put together to make a double-sided engine house. Paint, weathering, roof vents, and some other fooling around made it good. It's towards the back of the layout, so it's not something you're going to see up close. I did get in close to take the picture, obviously, but it wasn't something you're going to look at really up closely. The interior is pictures glued behind the windows, which is a very effective way of modeling an interior if you're not going to get right up on top of it, even if you do. There were a bunch of wall pieces left over, which I once turned into a flat. I haven't used that one recently. It's just sitting on the shelf waiting to find a use. Ulrich made the expandable, add a unit expandable factory. which this is how it came out of the box, but you could combine them together into all kinds of things. Here's one that I added some details to, cleaned up the loading dock, put a new loading dock on it. This section is a different color brick. There are multiple styles of them with different kinds of windows. This one this one back here, as you can see, is different than this one. I added the scratch built the lean-to to it, added another one over here. Put some better roof details on it. I think it was Tom said that the roof details are important because that's the part you see. My friend Roger Beiswanger's dad had them as well. That's where this one came. This is on his layout. These two are on his layout. This is the one that was the rooming house. This was the gray one was the factory. Included blank walls and doors, and so on. This one is the Revell lumber yard. The other side of it is open. I decided it worked better from the back. Again, with some painting up and weathering, it fit right in here pretty well. Some of these details came with it. Some of this is just scrap lumber that I left, hidden out back. There's a little office shed that goes with it here. Around the corner over here, you can't see it, but there's a radial arm saw, which recalls the days when I was first involved in buying lumber. You went to the lumber yard, they cut them from 12-inch boards right at the lumber yard. He needed a 2x4. He cut it out of a 2x12.
Yeah.
And that's probably a good place to stop, Jim, if that's good.
That's good with me. That's gorgeous.
Okay.
It's really beautiful.
We'll pick it up here next time.
Anybody have any questions for Ed? How big is that station going to be once it's finished, Ed?
The one you just saw?
Yeah.
That's as big as it gets. I'll talk about that. It's actually the Bachman department store that I pieced together to make to come close to New Haven Station. We'll talk about that next time.
Okay.
I'm now on the new layout. I got to figure out where it goes. I'm to that point, so I got to figure out. Let's see, how's this going to fit in here? But we'll see.
Thanks so much, Ed. You have a great
All right.
night.
You're welcome. Yep.